I'm Matt, I'm 18 and suffer from ADHD, motor tics and anxiety disorder.
When he was a toddler, he was hyperactive and quite clumsy, and he never ever wanted to share any of his toys. He always had to be the one in control of everything, and we tried to teach him that you need to share, but it wasn't until he went to school where they discovered his behaviour was uncontrollable. He wanted to play, they couldn't get him to sit. He would be the one climbing across the tables. And there was a supply teacher once who said, can you not bring Matthew in, because we had Ofsted going in. And I asked why, and she said, because I think he's got ADHD.
Right from the very start, when we knew the problems we did have, the nights we had to spend up all the time, sitting on his bedroom floor because he couldn't go to sleep. It's really took it out of everyone at the time, but obviously over the years we've learnt to deal with it.
ADHD is a long-standing developmental condition that makes the person with ADHD has great difficulties paying attention to anything. Their concentration span is extremely limited. They are very, very distractible. They can be distracted by noise, by something they see, by something they see in a book, something they read, something out the window. They tend to follow their own trains of thought largely, rather than the train of thought that the teacher wants them to follow in a lesson. So it's very difficult for them to concentrate and to follow a lesson. Of course, there is also medication for ADHD. They can either take Ritalin or a drug called Concerta, or there are newer ones I know, which can be very effective in controlling the hyperactivity and allowing them to concentrate, at least while they're at school. So often parents of children with ADHD give them a Ritalin drug in the morning at breakfast, and the effects are just beginning to wear off as they leave school in the afternoon.
Without his tablets, his life would be awful, really. So I accept now he has to take tablets, yeah. And he accepts, because he's tried to come off them. He'd be like a 6-year-old bouncing about.
Sometimes he's got a positive outlook on life and his schooling. Another day he can be completely opposite. One day's not the same as the next, so there's a lot of difference there. One day he can go to school and he'll be the perfect student. Next day he can go and he'll be put in seclusion because he's done something wrong. So.
My conditions range from ADHD to things like motor tics, where I will fidget. I do stuff with my flight, and I play with my hands or bite my nails. It's that they generally get worse if I'm more anxious with like anxiety, and the worse they get, the more worried I get, and it's quite hard to calm down.
But it's a medical diagnosis, it's not an educational diagnosis. ADHD is diagnosed by a doctor or by a psychiatrist. It's not a diagnosis I can make as an educational specialist. And because it is a medical diagnosis, I mean, that's part of the reason why drugs are given to try and allay the effects.
When I was in middle school, I had 18 months off due to being quite ill, and I went to the Croft in Cambridge, and they diagnosed me with one with problems, and I went to special needs school in Durham, where I was there for 6 years and I travelled every day.
How far did you have to travel?
40 miles there, 40 miles back.
Your relationship with Math has got better as he's got older, and as you got older, as you both matured?
Yeah, like, we never used to really talk as much as we do now, but we talk like more, and like we used to just like sit there but we don't talk much now because he's like always in his room. But like, when he does come out, we do talk more.
Do you think that conditions such as ADHD have an effect on immediate family members?
Oh, of course.
As well?
Especially parents and siblings. Anybody with ASD or on the autistic spectrum, their parents will be, very involved in every aspect of their life. Their brothers and sisters will be as well. So yes, any specific learning difficulty or developmental condition, like ADHD or Asperger's or dyslexia, has an impact on the family.
Do you think there's been much of a change since he left his special school to go to college? Has that been positive or negative?
That's been a big positive. Big positive. He hasn't got into any trouble since he's been to college. Never been aggressive towards anyone. He's been completely different to how he was when he was attending school.
Do you think that his conditions will affect him throughout his entire adult life, and in what way?
Yeah, I don't think we'll see a change. As we say, he's 18 now, and he's still behaving like he's still at school. He still doesn't socially interact with anyone. We couldn't expect him to go out with his friend and just go down the pub because he's not that kind of person. He might get the bus into town, but that's probably as far as he'll go. He won't go any further than that.
Well, just in general, what advice would you give them?
I would say that the label ADHD does not define you. People know what you're like anyway. You're the same as you ever were, whether you've been labelled or not. And you'll be behaving with problems with attention and distractibility and hyperactivity, whether you're labelled or not. So people will probably suspect, even if you don't tell them. And I'd also encourage people to disclose, because I always think honesty is the best policy. And it's likely to get you more sympathy if you actually say, look, I have got a specific learning difficulty, I've been properly assessed, I know what my problems are, and I need some help in coping with various aspects of my studies or my life. You're more likely to get a sympathetic response, I would argue, if you're open with people. But I do understand that people don't want other people to know.